So real quickly, I'm Kurt from Fraud Sniffer. I'm a 35-year claims guy. My partner is also my sister, and she's got 25 years in using linguistics to mine the internet using software. So when it comes to social media, we have a skill set that is fairly unique. But the reason why I bring my sister up is when we first started this business, the second I got anywhere close to subject matter, even resembling claims, this is what she would do. So everything that Joe just told you is exactly what you need to be able to document your file, get your reserves, your settlement authority, all that on the insurance end. But at the end of the day, if you go to trial, you're going to have 10 people like my sister. So you have to get some real world stuff to spark them up a little bit. So when Joe said, can you give me some real world examples about what you find when you do your investigations, especially in TBI claims? I thought, yes. So because I know this is a room of attorneys, I include this picture in every one of my slides because that's the profile picture from our report. That is my proof to you that I didn't just go to Google Images and put a bunch of junk on a slide. So Joe is a TBI claimant, as you can see right there. He's also got a back injury. But Joe owns and operates a travel agency. Anybody who made their arrangements to go to this thing, between doing connections and booking hotels and all of that stuff, it requires a lot of logical leaps and timeline type thinking. The type of thinking that would be really screwed up if your brains were sort of a scramble. Mm-hmm. So then Joe shows all of the things that he's going to do in his trip. Because his trip is to propose to his girlfriend in Hawaii. So going to Hawaii in and of itself is probably 2 connections anyway, and then you're going to go between different islands and all of the things. But so here's the key. Joe told us all about his trip, but we had to go to his girlfriend's page to actually see the 2 of them with the new diamond ring on her hand, and to know that she said yes. But still, for a guy who's brain injured, quite an elaborate proposal scenario in my mind. Can we go to the next slide? So our next bad actor, so to speak, is a guy named Paul, and Paul is very active in his local thespian. In fact, as you can see by this picture, he not only is in a play, a community play, maybe an extra that pushes set pieces on and sings in the chorus, but he is the lead to the play Babette's Feast. And while I didn't have enough room on this slide, there are multiple pictures in his profile that talk about very robust and physically demanding fight scenes that are part of this play. So if you think about, again, TBIs and memory and the ability to find your mark and to be jostled around, even if you're just play fighting and everything else, I'm thinking that his TBI is not on the severe side of things. Next slide, please.
You actually have the clicker.
Oh, really?
Yes.
But it's not working.
Oh, sorry. 1 second.
By the way, just to brag on Kurt a little bit, not only is he and Fraud Sniffer one of our wonderful sponsors, but boy, can they do a great job getting stuff. And he's very reasonably priced. He'll do things and he'll give you updates as part of the fixed fee. Tremendous resource for you, so use him.
Joe, the only thing I'll add to that is, Kurt knows this, the best thing about it is he won't send you a 100-page report that says there's nothing that I can find. He gets to what's in.
Yeah, he gets to it.
If there's good stuff, you'll get it. If we call them maybe matches. We won't do maybe matches. But I love this guy because it fits right in with what Joe just talked about. So here's the profile picture of the guy. But hey, look, here's his ESPN page for high school recruiting. So this guy has a 3-year history of playing high school football. But now, if you're astute, and we are, does that look like a football to you? Kind of looks more like a rugby ball to me. So he's not only playing football, but now that he's out of high school and he didn't go to college, he's doing pickup rugby games. We all know that if you have a concussion before, you're more susceptible to a concussion again, and you really need to figure out how recovered he may or may not have been. But now here's the icing on the cake. Can you roll the video for me?
Everybody said they started from the bottom. Something about me. Something when you start from. Cause it was a problem with like, I could get laughed at. That shit, but you know, it's crazy how life works. When I said that before, just call me. I was on my head down. When I said that before, I was on my head down. Couple rings. But
can you believe that? 400-pound deadlifts with a traumatic brain injury? And he's claiming orthopedic injuries. I would say this one is toast. But I had to leave the song in there to tell you about something you may or may not know. What's the first thing plaintiff counsel says when you totally blow his claim up with one 18-second video?
Go ahead. Anybody?
Those videos were prior to the accident.
Right.
Did after, right?
Oh, well, for sure. But that's why I left the song in. Anybody familiar with Shazam? You can put the song through Shazam and it'll tell you when the song came out, who sang it, and really, then when you go to plaintiff's counsel and you say, really, he lifted those weights 2 years before the date of injury, and he, for unknown reason, posted them now with a current song, but they're really too, now it's up for the jury to decide, but.
And also, he happened to be having a good day.
Right.
That's
One good.
what I thought you were going to say. Yeah.
Well, and that's the good part about Fraud Sniffer is you get free updates for the life of the claim. So you get one of these things. I wouldn't necessarily send it right to plaintiff's counsel that day, but see what pops up over the next couple of years. So when you get to that mediation and they're like, oh, my claimant is so messed up, and you just smile and start sliding post across the table and ask them how many good days you had in the last 15 months.
And Kurt, you can make it so that when they inevitably take it down to try and get it off, you've got it. It's there.
Well, everything we grab is stored on a third-party administered server. Once we have it, nobody can change it, nobody can take it down, nobody can alter it in any way, and the only way you can get it is through a custodian in a read-only format, which means that spoliation arguments are wrecked before they even get started.
Is there anything in the technology where you can, they call it metadata, I don't know if that's a term anymore.
It is.
That you can tell not when it's posted, but when it's actually videotaped?
No, they scrubbed that out years ago. So you have to use things like Shazam and body habitus and glasses types and everything to develop a preponderance of evidence type of thing instead of the slam dunk, which we all really would like. So bear with me for one more, if you would. This is our buddy Antario, and I couldn't fit this on the slide either, but Antario is in the military, and he posted on his social media site his promotion to sergeant. So if you know anything about the military, sergeants don't get promoted to that rank because they have a note from their mom saying they have a head injury and they can't do anything. You know he's doing the 5-mile runs. You know he's at the shooting range. In fact, we have a picture of him driving a 2-pound stake with a sledgehammer. All very difficult activities to do if you're dealing with a closed head injury.
And remember the fitness reports. Those will all be in there. He wouldn't have got promoted to sergeant without positive fitness reports. It's really important. And it
the
would,
upper left video.
it helps if you,
So keep in mind, this guy's doing this stuff while shooting or doing shots.
The Themis party, so what?
well, don't be claiming any head injuries there, Gary, if you fall.
See, I call this guy my balance guy. Check this out.
I love this. This gives you great confidence in our military preparedness, doesn't it?
Now we're in the bottom video. We talk about bright lights and loud noise.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, obviously this is not the video from the club, but check these guys out, man. Nobody's talking. Do you think maybe it's a little loud in there?
They claim photophobia, they claim audiophobia from the accident because their brains scrambled up.
Not want to be around crowds or people.
Yeah.
All of that stuff. But so I want to kind of wrap this up a little bit, because if you have a TBI, those claims are dangerous claims. We all know they're dangerous claims. So in the new world of insurance, like Joe, when I started, a tower was something you made out of Tinker Toys. But the discussions on how to deal with a tower and maintain tower unity and everything else is, after the conferences I've been at Themis, very paramount in dealing with your insurers and ultimately trying to get to final settlement. And what's the first thing when you put 5 or 6 people in a room that breaks down? It's communication. So how do you communicate with all these different carriers who have different risk tolerances and settlement strategies and reserving philosophies and all of those things, and keep them together till you can actually resolve a claim? Well, a big way of doing that is to keep all of the adjusters and team leads and everything else on the same page. And you could say, oh, fraud sniffer, you're a surveillance firm. Yeah, we are. But I've been in this industry forever, and if you just do what everybody's always done, you're going to not get very good results. So part of Fraud Sniffer is we've engineered a communication element into what we have developed, so that you are able to, instead of sending stuff around to everybody on encrypted email, you invite everybody in your tower to the data repository. They all have 24/7 access, and they all have the ability to run updates, even if your adjuster is buried on vacation, doesn't care, whatever the case may be. And this is kind of what it looks like. This is just a screenshot of what our hit log is like, and you can see a light square on the end of each post. You can check that post, or that square, and then go send to email, and you can send our findings complete with the entire metadata set directly to either people involved in your defense, or my favorite is that dude doing 400-pound deadlifts. I'd love to send that post directly to plaintiff's counsel with just the simple message of, how do you like me now?
And you'll want to always, first of all, make sure it's as protected as it can be, you know, with work product or attorney-client privilege. But also, whenever you send something to a plaintiff's lawyer, I always put a big thing on the top that says settlement communication under Evidence Rule 408. That's the federal rule. It happens to be the same in Ohio. Make sure that it's protected as much as it can be. And then I also put attorney mental impressions. Those are protected too. Just a little. Beth? What's that?
So I'm in an affirmative disclosure state. I have an affirmative obligation to disclose these types of things.
You mean after?
Questions you.
Hold on. After initial disclosures? In other words, it's ongoing?
The initial disclosure.
Yeah.
Affirmative and ongoing.
Okay.
So my question to you is the timing is critical of when you would run this. So what do you think is the best timing for
I don't know. Do you have no secrets then? You can't, no impeachment? I would argue,
claim work product on something, but not like that?
well, a lot of times, like for instance, the classic is surveillance. Depending on your jurisdiction, you can say that I'm holding it, I'm not giving you anything now. It's impeachment evidence. And then, so you have to generally do it after the plaintiff lies or hooks themselves and then say, okay, now that that's on the record, here's my impeachment evidence. I don't know. I barely know my own law, but.
Do you guys run into authentication issues, like getting it in and admitted to trial?
Actually, that's one of our best attributes. Because of the way we store things in the third-party administered server, you can only recover through a custodian. We basically follow the chain of custody for physical evidence, but with social media. And because of the technology we have involved and the procedures that we follow, with the exception of California, because they're the ultimate outlier, we are self-authenticating in all states.
And also, don't forget, that's a statement of the party, Rule 801. It's not hearsay, it's self-authenticating. That you can always argue that that is a statement of a party. It doesn't have to be something they say in their deposition, or that is the statement of a party, not hearsay, and it's automatically allowed. It should be. I mean, it has to be authentic. That's the 900s, but go ahead.
Except in California.
Well, but
Well,
if you're in California,
please.
you've got some, between my CV and Marcy's CV, they're impeccable. So have us out for a deposition. We're ready.
That's right. Hell, you might have to call, just like you have to call a records, he's essentially the records custodian to authenticate. Great. He'll do a phenomenal job, and the plaintiff's lawyer will look like an idiot. If we have one, are you done?
He says I'm done.
Okay, well then you are. All right, let me just talk a little bit more about the neuropsychological stuff. Neuropsychological testing, you have to have the right neuropsychologist, and it takes an entire day. So you might have to go through the court, you might have to get, they're going to file protective order. It takes like an entire day to do it properly, to do the proper neuropsychological testing. We have to do that running interference for our neuropsychologists. And then you'll find out that their neuropsychologist doesn't do anywhere near the sort of testing. The last one I had, he had the guy draw like a cube or something. It was bullshit. And my neuropsychologist says, I'll eat this guy up. And he wrote a report saying how inadequate their he wasn't even a neuropsychologist. He's a neurologist. His name's Randall Benson. He writes the same, he's from Columbus. He writes the same report in every case. Someone just asked on TIDA about it. So not only can you say what's right, but what's not done right, and you have to have the horses. You've got to get the right testing. And that they'll fight it. They will fight it, and they'll want to be in the room and all that stuff. So you just have to deal with that. But the testing's crucial.
So can I just add on to that? One thing that my team and I do is, so we talked about malingering and the testing, and we do all of that. But in California, we call it secondary gains.
Yes.
We don't call it malingering anymore.
Okay.
So, so all the records and all the testing, we have, every time we look for anything, we have everyone also look for what the secondary gain is going to be through every piece of information, every school record, every employment record, every family record, depositions with family members.
There you go.
Just ties it all together.
Doctor, you did.
The videos, the social media, everything. We look at everything within out of that.
You'd admit to me, doctor, wouldn't you, that the plaintiff who is seeking money in this case has a motivation to exaggerate their damages? They'll never admit it, but you can't unring a bell. You've asked the question. The jury heard it. And then, if anyone wants, I have a standard cross-examination of a psychologist in post-traumatic stress disorder. I hinted at it about all the other ways people can have post-traumatic stress disorder and say, she broke her foot in a car wreck. How does that stack up? And I don't know about your experience. Every single time they'll say, post-traumatic stress disorder is post-traumatic stress disorder. And the jury says, what are you talking about? The Holocaust or 9/11 and this bullshit? So, okay.
Well, the one thing I wanted to leave you, and this really is my last slide, is yes, we're a surveillance company. In this space, in my opinion, we're as good as it gets. But more than just surveillance.
And who's the narcissist?
I know, right? Hey, it's my chance. It's my 15 seconds. But we do more than just say, hey, your guy might be pulling your leg a little bit. We help you communicate that to all the players in your class. So I'm done.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else?